why should you rapture? First of all, a rapture is just a public confession that you record on your phone or some camera and you send to me that I upload to this channel. You may say, well, why on earth would I do that? There are several reasons, and I'm going to try to make this quick. If you're a human being, you should listen to this entire thing and share it with everyone you know. On an individual level, when you do this, you record yourself and then you watch it, you're going to feel some sense of relief because you're basically getting all the skeletons out of your closet. All the things that subconsciously affect the way you talk to people, the way you think about other people, the way you think about yourself, all comes to the surface and you realize, you know what, I've made mistakes and I don't need to blame anyone else for these, even though other people may have harmed you in the past. So on an individual level, it will provide you a sense of relief. For your immediate friends and family, okay, you're going to start, when you see their raptures, when you see their confessions, you're going to start to understand more about them and what makes them tick. You're going to see commonalities, things that, you know, maybe a friend of a friend you didn't know, you can now relate to them and say, you know what, I experienced that too. I had an addiction problem. I was molested. I cheated on a test. I thought about shooting up a school, stuff like that. So you get to bond with other people. You also get to see how events in their lives that you otherwise wouldn't know about affect how they behave and, how they, act within society. When we pan out a little bit, we talk about our local organizations. Let's talk schools, for example. Use Santa Fe, the school shooting that happened yesterday where 10 kids died. If every student had raptured, public confession, the shooter, Demetrios, would have said, one of the things that I've done wrong is I've been planning to shoot up the school. Well, when the fellow students saw that, they would say, hey, Demetrios, why? We like you so much. Well, here's why. I feel like these certain individuals don't like me, or they, talk shit about me behind my back or something like that. Oh no, maybe it was a misunderstanding, and then they would talk through it rather than having pent up sort of aggression that has no outlet that then spills over into a violent act. Or let's talk about a religious institution, a church, a mosque, a temple. You start to see commonalities between you and your fellow worshipers. Or, you start to see that maybe the person in charge, the priest, I don't know what the terms are, the monk, the rabbi, whatever the other terms are for different religions, maybe they aren't, or they have issues too that they've experienced or whatever. They have bad things that they've done, so they aren't so perfect in your mind, and then it provides some sense of relief that, hey, I don't have to be afraid of this institution because everyone here is in this together. We've all committed these sins, for lack of a better word. Or maybe it's inside of your workplace. You start to understand, oh, my boss, that's what that's what he's going through right now. Or his wife cheated on him, or he cheated on his wife, or he embezzled money, just like apparently the CEO embezzled money. So I don't have to feel so bad about embezzling money because everyone embezzles money from this company. Stuff like that. When we go out even further into society, politics, different political groups, everyone's pointing the finger at the other, at the other group, saying, "Oh, look at all these misdeeds." Well, when we stop pointing fingers at each other, and we can examine all of the misdeeds that everyone has done, then we can finally let our guards down and say, "Hey, you know what? We're all in this together." Instead of trying to figure out who is imperfect, since we now know that we're all imperfect, now we can start working together to, help society. Or maybe it's in the media. There's a girl, let's say there's a girl who, she idolizes a certain, let's say, supermodel, and she wants to be thin like this supermodel, so she's developed a mean case of anorexia. Well, when she hears the rapture or the confession of the supermodel and realizes, oh, this person I thought was so perfect isn't so perfect, that maybe this young girl can start eating normally again. Do you see what I'm saying? What else could we say? Oh, and when we talk globally, different countries, the way we interact, we're going to realize that our leaders, they all have committed some sort of sin. It doesn't have to be that they murdered someone or that they, lied to Congress or they, manipulated an election, but it could be something, minor. Maybe they were closed off during a negotiation. They judged a different president, something like that. And when we start to see these, we start to see, oh, well, maybe, the way that we've been handling, politics and geopolitical sort of interactions for different countries that are left in the hands of 15 or 20 major leaders, heads of state. These heads of state aren't exactly, blemish-free. And then, I think most importantly, to stick with that for one more second, and then we can start saying, oh, instead of trying to figure out, who is superior or, which country's in the right or the wrong, we start to realize we're kind of all in the wrong. From a family standpoint all the way up into, or an individual standpoint, through family, through local organizations, institutions like work, religious institutions, schools, and then we get out into governments, and then finally, we can say to ourselves, you know what? It doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter what language we speak. We all have this common trait, is that we're flawed. We've made mistakes. Whether it be murdering someone or cheating on your taxes, we've all screwed something up. Most of us have screwed up lots of things. Look at me, for example. If you watch my public confession, I've screwed up lots of stuff. But it's okay, because none of us are perfect. None of us are God. And we can start to statistically analyze these things in a way that we never have before, just by being honest, being forthright, and just fessing up for what we've done. It's not that big of a deal, because it just proves that we are not perfect. And then the most important thing that this rapture does is, whether you want to call it the universe or God or Allah or Yahweh or whatever term you want to use, as long as it's with reverence, whatever that higher power is, whatever you want to call it, you get good with Him. And I think that's the most important thing, is saying, hey, you know what? We've screwed up. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Not to get religious, I'm just saying, if we can all sort of, get these skeletons out of our closets and examine them in a big way, whatever force is operating up there, I call him Dad, he's going to be really happy. This is what he's wanted for 6,000 years, or at least 2,000 years since Jesus was alive. So that whole concept of him dying for our sins, this is what he was dying for. They just didn't have the ability to record it and document it. So that's the purpose of the rapture. That's the purpose of this sort of public confessional. And I hope that other people can, this makes sense to people, where they can send their videos in to this channel, okay? And why through this channel? Because if you want to get to the Father, you got to go through the Son. It's just how it works. And also, that this is a pure depository for these confessions, because, I'm the guy who went first. I don't know how else to say it. I'm not going to BS anyone. I'm going to give it to you straight, and that's just how it works. So that's it. That's why you would want a rapture. It helps humanity. It helps us run a smoother system, and it gets things to think about what it solves. It solves racism, right? Like, think about racism. We all want to point fingers and say, oh, well, African Americans, or oh, the Middle Easterners, or oh, the white guys, or, the gender stuff, women, men, all of it. We're all guilty of something. And when we can start to see how we can relate to one another's mistakes, then we start to bond. So it ends racism. It ends the idea of war. Why do we need to fight if we're all fucking, it's part of my language, but if we're all screwing things up? It kind of ends that process. You see that? And I think, and this goes out to Matt E., who's had some really great questions and been one of the strongest critics so far, I think, because no one's ever done this before, that if God takes this when God takes this in a positive way, I think He's going to lighten up on the whole natural disaster thing. The $1 billion plus hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, all that stuff's going to stop. Now, you may say, well, how is that possible? It's God. Come on. That's how He spanks us as humans. You can see how things have become more divisive. We've been working less and less together over these past 7 years. And you can see the increase in natural disasters. And, thousands of people have died. Well, maybe we can try something new, and maybe they won't. Maybe we can prevent that from ever happening again. So that's the purpose of it. I know those are pretty broad strokes, but just hopefully it gets your brains thinking on this level. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get a wave of these things coming in, because we really only have 36 hours left. So, and what happens after 36 hours? I don't know. Maybe this thing that just simply goes viral, right? Or maybe we have a series of natural disasters, earthquakes. Maybe the Hawaiian volcano erupts and the whole island collapses. Maybe we have a nuclear catastrophe. Maybe there's a announcement of a war, a declaration of war. It could be anything. The only person who knows is up there, and he's got a plan. That's why we're doing this now. So I hope you can, jump on board. Sorry it was 11 minutes, but I did my best. See you guys.